All right, we'd like to welcome everybody out to the City Council meeting tonight. We're appreciative of those who are here in attendance and those who are watching. So our first item of business, Chad?
Just offer a prayer.
You doing it? All right. Thank you.
Our dear Father in heaven, we come before thee this evening as we meet here as a city council, and we ask that thy Spirit be with us, that as we discuss the needs of this great community, that we will be mindful of the citizens, that we will be take the time to take care of the needs that we need to address and address them in a pleasing manner. We're grateful for this wonderful city and the citizens that live here and the opportunity that we have to serve. We invite thee at this time, and we ask and say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. I've asked Councilman Mendenhall to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
The audience, please rise and repeat the pledge after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Next on our agenda is Miss Pleasant Grove Strawberry Day Royalty. Are they here? Well, I guess not. How about our IPSA rodeo? Oh.
He's coming.
He's coming? He's coming?
They're on the phone tomorrow. Oh, next.
Well, there you go. Come on down.
All right, so just like to kind of show you.
Tell everybody who you are.
All right, Kelly Peterson. I'm the electrical superintendent for the city. We have a short little video here of the IPSA Lineman Rodeo that was held down in St. George around 1st of November. It's the first annual rodeo that has been done by IPSA. We've always had a skills competition with all the other members of IPSA during our training week, but this is the first time we've ever had actual lineman rodeo. We're kind of copying what APPA does on the national level, and they compete in the same type rodeo events. Some of the other cities that are part of APPA and IPSA have gone to that national event. St. George being one of them. That's why they kind of sponsored the first one, tried to put it together because they'd been to the national event. Everybody thought, well, St. George is going to win this because they've done it before. They know what they're doing. Our crew, we kind of put together an obstacle course to get 3 guys, and the fastest 3 that did our obstacle course is what we made the team up of and sent them down to compete in this. The whole time they said, we just want to be respectable. We don't care if we place, we just don't want to be last. We want to be respectable. Well, coming out of it, they finished first in one event, second in one event, and in an obstacle course, which is a team draw. They just drew names out of a hat and put teams together. One took first place on the team he was on. The other one took second. So for guys that just wanted to do respectable, they did very well. So we've got a really good group here. We'd like to kind of show you the video now, and then we'll just kind of bring them up and introduce them to you. So. This is the trophy that was made for them. It's a traveling trophy that'll just travel around between the cities every year. We get the bragging rights that Spanish Fork got to go here first.
Nice.
That's
So,
awesome.
It was really good. It was a lot of fun. That was actual speed.
Yeah, we saw that.
Really cool. So, with that, I'd like to kind of bring up the members that were on the team. We have who they call as the team captain is Travis Reed, Brock Jewett, and Brady Shepard. They are the three that, as we did our own little qualifying on who we were going to send, they did the fastest times in our own little city event we held, and then that qualified them to go down and participate in the St. George one. In the future, we'll probably be sending the winner of the IPSA event to the APA national competition, but we didn't have time to get it all up and going this year and make it happen. The event this year, we're going to rotate it around the state. It'll be in Lehigh, September 22nd of this year. We got approval from them to go drill holes in their rodeo arena. We asked about drilling holes in ours, but
Nice
I
try.
kind of got looked at from administration and Dell like, are you kidding me? So we asked, we just had to ask. So just let you know, these guys, they did a great job. They, when we first approached them, I think they thought, well, do we really want to do this? But when they got down there, the competitiveness kicked in and they wanted to win. So they did a really good job.
Great.
Good.
Nice job, man.
So
Back
Kelly,
bench.
climbing poles, speed climb up and down, or perform a task and then come back down?
Yes.
Both. Both.
It was, first you start off with 100 points. And depending on the task you're doing, your deducted points, if you make mistakes or do things, points can be deducted from 1 point up to 10, depending on how severe the mistake was that you made. And then it come down to time after that.
Okay.
So you're judged on points, and then if there's a tie in points, it goes down to who did it the fastest.
Okay.
So the one event that they took second in, they had the fastest time, but they were deducted 1 point more than the team that won it. So they were really close in both events. So,
Cool.
Cool.
so it's a,
for sponsors for
so it will be in Lehigh this year, and
So is there a photo op after, with all
yeah,
these
if you guys want to take pictures with our celebrities, you're more than welcome to.
That's awesome. Nice job, guys. Appreciate it. All right, looks like we have our Miss Pleasant Grove Strawberry Days royalty here. Come on down. After seeing those three, we're really good to see you guys.
All right, so we brought this strawberry cheesecake for you.
Oh,
You guys.
want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Lindsay Savage. I'm Miss Pleasant Grove. This is my first attendant, Ansley Funes, and my second attendant, Courtney Ricks. Our third attendant is missing. She had a different responsibility she had to be at tonight, but her name is Sammy Jo Carson. She's awesome. We're just coming here to invite you to Strawberry Days, let you know it's June 11th through the 17th. We have a lot of great events. We're super excited to share them with you, and we hope you can make it. So now each one of my attendants is going to go through one of their favorite events that they will tell you about and talk about. So
Great.
whoever wants to go first.
Okay. So one of my favorite events is the concert in the park. So what it is you have Johnny and the Rebels, and they come and sing, and there's a lot of different groups that perform. There's free strawberries and cream, which is the only time you can get it free at Strawberry Days, so you better go. It's a huge family atmosphere, and it's just fantastic.
Great.
And then one of the final events that they're going to have for Strawberry Days is the Grand Parade, and that will be held on Saturday, and that will be at 10 a.m. So we want you to come and to recognize our fun little float that we have with the money, and cheer us on and cheer on all the rest that we'll see, and have fun the week of Strawberry Days.
Great. Well, thank you for coming and inviting us, and also bringing the strawberry cheesecake.
Oh yeah, the
'cause-
best part.
Yeah, that's the best part of the whole thing.
It'll be safe right here.
All right, we'll just sit it right here.
Yep, perfect.
Yes, enjoy that. Thanks so much. for
Thank
letting
you
us
so
know.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're just gonna slip out. Thank you.
Yes,
guys.
go right ahead. Okay, our URPA award presentation. Come on down.
All right, we shall. Thank you very much for the invite and having us here. So my name is Leanne Powell, and I am the Executive Director of the Utah Recreation and Parks Association, just newly started. This is Kim Olson. He is our retiring Executive Director of URPA, so you get two of us tonight. And it's really an honor to be here and be able to present this award to one of your finest. So Utah Recreation and Parks Association, we have about 1,100 members throughout the state of Utah. We represent all facets of the Parks and Recreation field. And our biggest event each year is our annual conference that we have. Last year it was down in St. George. We have about 400 attendees that go down to that. And really the highlight of that is our awards banquet at the end of the conference, where we're able to honor some of the great programs and some of the great professionals that are doing great work around the state. So this is why we're here tonight. As you very well know, your Parks and Recreation Department are rock stars in the field. And so, you know, I've known at least two of them that are in here for a lot of years, and they've been role models for me, and I've worked very closely with both of them when they've been URPA presidents and KERPA president, and very active, and you know better than we do, but you have a great department. So we're pleased to be here, and I'm going to turn the time over to Kim, and he's going to talk a little bit about Paul.
Thank you. It's like Leanne said, it's great to be here. Mayor, City Council. I'm retiring. I've been the Executive Director for 6 years. Before that, I was a recreation professional for over 33 years. When I'm done tonight, then I'm totally done. So that's kind of fun. So
Hey, we're
this
glad
is
to
this
have
is
you
a
here.
great event for me.
It's a good place to end it.
But
right
it's,
here.
you know, like Leanne says, that is one of the big things that we do at our conference each year is recognize excellence among our peers. And I think that's one of the best awards you can get is an award from your peers, because they really know what it takes, and you can't fool your peers. They know if you're really good or you're faking it. Anyway, I don't remember how many years ago, well, there was this young man going to BYU, and he needed an internship. And I ended up hiring him up in Ogden to come and do, I was the recreation supervisor in Ogden. I hired him to do his internship in Ogden. Some of the interns we get, you can't wait till their time is up, so they're gone and quit causing problems for you. But Paul really took over and did such a wonderful job. You know, I just put him right in and had him take over some of the youth programs, and he did a wonderful job. I ended up scrambling through my director and other people, and we created a new full-time position and hired him there. He worked for us for, about 10 years? And then these people down in Utah County lured him away for some reason, but anyway, you know, each year we solicit applications of professionals in the state, of, you know, what they've done, you know, give us a brief resume, and really most of the people that come are the group that makes the decision is we have a council of past presidents of our association. There's about 15 or 20 that still come. There's more than that, but they don't come anymore, or they're dead, I don't know. But anyway, you know, so it's people that usually they know the applicants and really have worked with them before and been involved with them. And they're the ones that make the final decision. And they really know where excellence is, who has done a great job, and who has really supported recreation. Anyway, this year, for the outstanding professional in recreation for the state of Utah in 2017, I'm very proud to award Paul Jameson that distinction. Paul, come up here. Already said, you have a great staff in your Parks and Recreation, and many of them have received similar awards already. That you have a great staff, great people that really care about their constituents, the people that they work for, and it shows in the quality of program you have here in Spanish Fork. So again, we're very, very proud to make this award to Paul, and I think you're very lucky to have him here. So thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Turn around, let him take a picture of you.
We'll have the council be the background.
Oh, jeez.
No photo bombs back. Right between here.
Good job.
Speech.
Thank you.
Paul?
So, yeah, let Paul speak, but it doesn't hurt to have him be a pretty good golfer too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's where the problem comes in, so don't bring that up.
I know Grandma got fired when he left.
Oh, I would imagine.
We had a golf league, and our department director had me sometimes, but his partner was Paul.
Yep.
He took the best guy, and when he left, I had to explain why I let him go. Yeah, it was pretty touch and go. Anyway.
There you go.
Yeah, this is a great thing for me. I just wanted a couple of thanks really quick. One especially to my wife. She came to know very early on that recreation is not a 9-to-5 kind of job. And so I appreciate her support and her sacrifice throughout all these years. And as Kim mentioned, this coming from my peers is especially gratifying and very honored to have it come from them. It's been a great thing. It's a great profession. It's great to work with people like Leanne and Kim, and obviously with the staff here with Kim and Karen and the rest of our amazing staff, and that includes administration as well that see the vision, that understand the benefits of Parks and Recreation and what it does for a community. So it's a great honor to me. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Congratulations.
Very good. Okay. Nice job. Yeah, you're welcome, but you can stay through this whole boring meeting if you want.
Well, we would love to, but I'm sure we have something else.
I'm sure you do. Oh, yeah, you're retired. Yeah, so you don't have to be here. Yeah, so.
I don't have to go. I can loosen my tie.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Okay, we're going to go to public comments. And Dave, do you want to come up now?
Love to.
Okay.
Aaron, you want to, maybe Heather, I don't know if you want to. Yeah, do you mind? Got a DT on Main webpage. I appreciate Aaron being here tonight. He's been instrumental in helping us get some things organized for the summer.
You want to
And
introduce?
I will simply turn it over to him.
Perfect.
Let him introduce himself.
Okay. Mayor, council members, my name is Aaron Stern. I'm here tonight representing DT on Main. First of all, before we go down the calendar, I'd like to thank the mayor and the council members for all the support the city has given us and continue to give us. It's been great. This is going to be our second grand summer of activities. And leading into that, we're starting off on May 13th with something called Wolfsburg on Main. For you gearheads or Volkswagen aficionados, it's going to be a Volkswagen car show. We're really excited. We've got some great sponsors. Our main sponsor is Ken Garf, Volkswagen out of Orem, and they're actually bringing down the VW Atlas. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's the new VW SUV. We're going to be the first public viewing of the Atlas in the state of Utah. The official launch party isn't even until June. So if you want to see the Atlas, you got to come down. It's going to be awesome. We're also about 9 movies this summer, starting with Maverick on the 5th of June and ending with Hairspray sing-along on the 11th of August. So that should be fun. We've got some street fairs. We have some festivals. We have an art Chalk It Up Festival, June 3rd. We're going to be excited about that as well. And of course, we have Fiesta Days right in the middle in July. So again, thank you for the support, and we hope everyone comes out. So,
That's great.
thank you.
So will this be posted on our Spanish Fork website so people will know all the activities are coming?
Yes, it's in the first event in our newsletter right now.
Okay.
Yeah, May 13th. And also DT on Main, that's our coalition of merchants and property owners. And they've got a great website. It's also got a calendar on it. I think we kind of link back and forth between the city and DT on Main calendars.
Great. Hey, thank you. I
Which
appreciate you
Aaron
putting
is
that
one
in.
of? Aaron's a merchant on Main.
I'm both a merchant and a property owner.
Right.
So,
My sister's closet. I'll say it.
yeah, my sister's
Yeah,
closet.
there you go.
There you go. Actually, my wife. That's my sister's closet right there.
They're great owners. Great
Aaron,
people.
thank you for all your time on the Downtown on Main Committee. You've put a lot of work into this. Thank you.
Great.
I just want to echo that before I sit down. Aaron, thank you. Really appreciate the Chamber of Commerce also. They've been super supportive, and the DT on Main website, which is where this is located right now. Randy Kaufman has done a lot of work on that over the course of the past year. It's been
Good.
great to have a number of different people, very capable professionals that have stepped up, have given of their time very, very openly and willingly. And that's how these types of things are coming about, of course, along with your help and support, and we genuinely appreciate that.
That's great. Thanks, Dave. Okay, Dave Taylor, would you like to come up and talk to us here in public comment?
Do you have the video? Okay, first off, we got to echo Paul's award. He is awesome. Because of his help, we had a little soccer tournament that was going to come up here that's turned into something much bigger and much more interesting, and so we wanted to let you guys know what's going on. There's only one youth soccer tournament that occurs in Utah County. Most of them are in Salt Lake City, so big void here that we felt needed to be filled. So we built Fiestas Cup, and it's coming up June 7th, June 10th. And because Arturo, who is from Tijuana, it's a city about the size of Salt Lake City in as you guys know, in North Mexico. He's well connected down there with the government and with the sports figure. They have a team down there called, how do you say it, the Xolos Quintles. Everybody calls them the Xolos. They're basically the same as Real Salt Lake. In fact, they're kind of rivals. There's little sister teams that like to play. And the Xolos, when they heard about this tournament, said, we'd like to come and we'd like to participate. And then we hired a guy from Real Salt Lake to help us market the tournament around among the leagues that exist here. And under their recommendation, we've actually made the first prize for the U16 male team a trip to Mexico to play several professional teams, like not the actual teams themselves, but the lower level boot camp people. And those are the same people that the Xolos are sending up to play here. So they'll be like their 16-year-old professional league. They're going to be on a team later on. They're going to be coming here to play, and they will be in the championships as well. So people will be able to see them play. We have additional interest from Central Mexico and possibly Real Salt Lake themselves to send teams. Why don't you go ahead and play the video? What you're seeing here is actually going to be running on ESPN, and that's the CBS expansion. When they found out the Xolos were coming and what they're doing, they negotiated for exclusive broadcast rights for the tournament. And so they brought Congress and McDonald's sponsors. So it started to really roll. And when the Xolos found out about that, they did a little more investigating and said, we'd actually like to establish a permanent presence in Utah. So they're going to be building a league for professional level tournament in the same time. They're going to build a legal training facility in Spanish Fork. So things are starting to roll and moving away. focus on that level of play and discipline. And it's also going to provide a lot of responsibility for this and so they are actually making commercials now with the running spots all through May. So this is going to be very interesting. It comes up in June. Teams registering now, we expect to see about 150 teams show up, although we do have capacity for 220. So a big thank you to Paul, and thank you to you guys for your support. It's been instrumental, and it looks like we'll be doing a great tournament. Thank you.
Wow.
Wow, that's awesome.
Thank you very much.
Way to
That's
go.
awesome. Yeah, thanks for bringing it here to the best place,
So-
Spanish Fort.
We hope to have it every year.
I have a quick question. Is this all down at the sports park?
All at the
All
sports
of it?
park. We're trying to
Okay.
keep it all in one place.
That's a lot of teams.
It's logistically, we don't really want to go over 200 or else things get a little bit crowded, but yeah, there is enough space down there. It's a wonderful facility.
Now we just need a hotel.
After this year, probably.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
An interesting side note, the Xolos is very well known. My son is on an LDS mission in Tijuana and has spoken, knows of the Xolos. So very well known for those of us that aren't familiar with it. So that's a big thing to have them have their prep team coming up. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for all your effort
Thank
on
you.
that.
Thanks.
Appreciate that. Anyone else in the public would like to come up and address the mayor and the council? If not, we'll go to council comments. Let's start with Councilman Scobes.
Mayor, a couple of things. One, just for everyone to kind of start putting on your calendars, the Veterans Council already has a program prepared for Memorial Day down at the city cemetery, as they do every year. Have a great speaker and a great program lined up.
Normally it's 10.
Normally it's still at 10.
Okay.
That's what I was going to say, and then
I'm sure it was.
yes. So 10 o'clock, Memorial Day down at the cemetery. And then sorry to see Paul walk out, and if they can hear me in the out room there. We had the 4th grade Hershey's track meet. So Dale, Paul, Karen, I'll forget names, so just the whole Parks and Rec crew did a fantastic job today. Sunburn for all the teachers, a lot of screaming for all the kids, and just a great event. 3rd grade was rained out, so that'll be postponed. 5th and 6th are coming as well, but and that's just half of the elementary schools in Spanish Fork. Parks and Rec department does a great job putting that on, and really just a neat event for the kids. So fun to see great things happening. That's all.
Great. Councilman Gordon.
Nothing from me tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Back.
We had another Fiesta Days meeting last night. I just wanted to get everyone kind of up to speed. We are going to be doing the Heritage Parade again. We were a little bit touch and go on that, but people are interested and the Pays want to do that. So plan on the Heritage Parade, and the commercial entries for the Grand Parade are coming in and looking good. All of the food vendors around the park are taken care of, and those spots are reserved. We are looking for food vendors for the Pyro Musical. That is a firework show put to music on Saturday, July 15th. So if we have anyone interested in applying, you can get online and apply there on our website under news and events. And then we're also looking for food vendors for the car show, which will be on July 22nd. And then, of course, you can get your rodeo tickets now. It's the 75th annual rodeo, and the tickets are on our website, and you can get those before they're sold out. So I think that's all with Fiesta Days. Heather from the Chamber of Commerce, come on up and let us know what's going on in the chamber.
Thank you. So we had our annual Easter egg hunt. It turned out great. We had lots of kids show up. Thank you to the mayor and city council for coming to hand out bikes. It's appreciated. We need all the hands we can get with 10,000 Easter eggs that we hand out. So we also had our Rotary Chamber golf tournament recently. It turned out really well. It was very cold, but we had a great turnout. I know that a lot of the council came and golfed and won a lot of raffle prizes too. So that's good. We had 23 kids apply for scholarships, and we raised enough money to give every one of them a scholarship.
Oh,
so
good.
It's going to be great. This week we have a groundbreaking for Wiggy Wash's new location up on Kirby Lane. So we'll be doing that tomorrow at noon. Thursday, we have a ribbon cutting for Pepe's Grill. They're our newest members of the chamber, so come out and join us for that. Have a really yummy taco. Our business of the month for May is Colt Sampson State Farm. So we'll be doing that celebration on May 11th. We're helping to sponsor the American Legion Walk for Life. It's coming up on the 17th and 18th of this month. It caters to the 5th grade students in the area. They go and learn. They have a veteran that they're researching, and those get displayed all around the sports park, and they can go and hear different stories from different branches of the military. And the National Guard is bringing some heavy equipment for the kids to look at, so it should be a great event. And then I just want to let everybody know that we have our Chalk Art Festival, the Chalk It Up on Main. It's coming on June 3rd. We are actually using this, a portion of it, for the chamber to do a fundraiser for the venture crew that we charter. So if you want to bring your kids down to the Kids Carnival, there'll be bounce houses and fun games. That would be really appreciated so that we can help support the venture crew. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Heather.
Great, thank you, Heather.
That's all from me.
Okay. Councilman Argyle.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to, a reminder to our awesome seniors that it is the membership dinner this Friday. And then I also would just like to say a thanks to the staff, Angie, Seth, Tyler. We had the opportunity to host some fellows from Europe, and I was grateful for the opportunity to have to visit with a few of them and listen to some of their stories and answer some of them questions. And I think they had an awesome time in Spanish Fork. They'll remember this town when they leave. I think they had a good time. It was a whirlwind, quick here and gone, but it was a neat opportunity for me to meet a couple of them and just to get to know what little bit we had a chance to. Just a shout out and a thanks for that, something that the city did. That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Mendenhall.
Thank you, Mayor. Really quick, piggyback on Kier's comments about Memorial Day coming up. We'll have another council meeting before then. But I got kind of smacked in the face with reality about Memorial Day. What was it, yesterday? Monday. About just the sacrifice that our veterans and our current military service people make. My boy Nash plays with a baseball team, and the kids are starting to be pretty good and learn each other's positions and everything else, and things are starting to click. And I made the comment to another kid's dad standing next to me that, hey, this is going to be fun to watch them coming up, this next month as they're getting better and they're getting the hang of things and stuff and throwing the ball harder. And he says, yeah, you'll have to watch Cage for me. I got to leave for a month and a half to go training. And so I'm sitting there thinking, how fun it's going to be to watch our kids, and then he's got to take off and do things to protect our freedom. So he's not watching this, but public thank you to him and all you guys care that take care of us and let us stay home and watch our boys' baseball games in peace. So Memorial Day coming up. Don't forget it. The city puts on a great program, and it's good stuff. Other than that, our Active and Healthy campaign is still going on, going strong. There's a little video here that I'm sure once it's released here to the public tonight, I will have so many calls from the big networks asking for help, right, Stacy?
Yes, I get them all the time.
You think that? Okay, yeah, I know you get that on Studio Chatter, and so we're about to get more.
Especially this last one.
This is, especially when the mayor drops in, right?
Yeah.
Getting a little thick in
Probably
here.
put that on our Facebook page, Seth, the mayor, on Studio Chatter.
Good idea. We've given away thousands of dollars to people that have won contests on this Active and Healthy movement. The chamber, a lot of them chamber businesses. I'd like to thank the chamber for supporting it, and all the businesses really that have given away gift cards and different prizes to all the winners that have done these weekly challenges. We have another weekly challenge that's going to start tomorrow, where Macy's and Teriyaki Grill are involved in giving away the prize. So, Tyler, if you could play this.
Hi, I'm Mike. And I'm Susan.
We're here at Macy's celebrating the kickoff of our next Green Wristband Challenge giveaway.
You may be familiar with some of our other giveaways that you can find on the Spanish Fork Active and Healthy Facebook page.
We have given away hundreds of dollars in prizes so far to Spanish Fork residents. Our next contest is called the Lean and Green Giveaway.
The Lean and Green giveaway is a recipe challenge. Make your favorite lean and green meal, snap a photo of the meal, and share the recipe and the photo on our Spanish Fork Active and Healthy Facebook page.
The winner gets a $100 gift card from Macy's.
That's a lot of great lean and green food.
But wait, there's more.
We're not done yet. The 3 runners-up will each get $20 gift certificates to Teriyaki Grill.
And you can't get more lean and green than Teriyaki Grill.
So join the movement. Join the Spanish Fork Active and Healthy Facebook page and enter the Lean and Green Challenge. You might just get $100 in groceries or a delicious meal for 2 at Teriyaki Grill.
Come on, Spanish Fork. Let's get lean and green.
Do you have an agent?
No, I'm getting one though.
I want to know if you got an attorney.
For that card incident?
Yeah, you stole the card, I see.
No, it went back. It got back. Susan Chapman was so worried about that after she's got kids that are close to teenagers, you know, and I says, as soon as this is on the internet, they're going to say, hey, well, you did it, Mom, right? So watch for the Chapman kids when they do that, Chief. No, Susan Chapman and the Active and Healthy Board, along with Dale and the whole Parks and Rec staff, Seth and everybody have sure helped out on this movement, and Macy's. We didn't get to pick the gift card; that just happened to be donuts on it. But they're giving away $100. You know, and everybody. I mean, all you have to do is take a picture of a lean and green meal that you're preparing and post it to the Facebook page, the Active and Healthy Facebook page, and you could win $100 from Macy's. And the other 3 winners will be $20 to Teriyaki Grill. So 2 great businesses in town, along with all the others that have supported this movement, and they're going to give away the prize this time. So thanks so much to them, and thanks to the board for keeping this moving. We have some events coming up that we'll continue to remind you of, but June 17th is a big day for the Active and Healthy movement. Down at the sports park will be the Wellness Fair. I'm not going to give away the speakers, but they're pretty good, right, Dale? I can just say that. Maybe Ute fans won't like them, but BYU fans will like them a lot. Junior, you can come and just scowl in the back, I guess. But BYU fans will be very pleased.
I was going to say, why don't you want to tell anybody who they are?
Like somebody that...
I don't know why you wouldn't tell them.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, that's enough of a tease, but there'll be some good people to hear, some local celebrities along with some national celebrities of people that have been active and healthy and to help us be active and healthy. Also, there will be a lot of booths of local businesses to help us be active and healthy. So that's all I have, Mayor. I'm done with my commercial.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Today I had an opportunity to take a busload of kindergartners, 80 of them to be exact, through a tour of Spanish Fork, and I really enjoyed doing that. We were able to drive the bus by our city office, went down to the fairgrounds, went down to the police station where Police Chief Adams handcuffed them and fingerprinted them all and threw them in jail. No, he didn't do that, but I got handcuffed. Then we went to the fire station, and then up North Park. I want to especially thank Dell for setting up all the tables and taking them all down so they could have a place to eat and that. So we appreciate our rec department. You can see what an outstanding rec department we have, the things they do. So that was a fun event I do every year, and the kids really enjoy that. The next thing I'd like to mention is our FFA Spanish Fork High School, our state champions. You might have heard them come down on Main Street. They took first up at the state in judging up there, and that's a big deal for those kids, and they worked real hard, and we appreciate all that they do there and the time and effort for the people that do that. And then on a personal note, if any of you are football fans, and Junior, you are a football fan on this one, we had a local boy here get drafted with the NFL. That's Isaac Asiata. He played football here at Spanish Fork High. He got drafted in the 5th round by the Dolphins, Miami Dolphins. And I'm sure it's all because of my effort there. I coached him when he was in Little League and on an accelerated football team. No, I can't take it all. He was a big, awesome kid then, big lineman and great kid. He went and played at the U of U, had a great career up there. I told him, I said, after his last game, I said, Isaac, I'm sure glad this is your last game. Now I don't have to watch the U play anymore, because I kept watching them just to watch him. I'm just kidding. All you U fans, I'm kidding. But great kid and a great hometown boy that made it good, and so we look for years to follow him in the NFL and look for good things in him. Okay, we're going to move to Spanish Fork 101. I'm going to ask Chief Adams to come up. I remembered this time, didn't I?
A few months ago, or weeks ago, we as chiefs met with the Major Crimes Task Force directors. In that meeting, they tell us of their goings-on for the last quarter. And one of the chiefs mentioned, we ought to have our city council and our citizens know a little bit more about what goes on at Major Crimes, what they do. Because honestly, when we're there, oftentimes we are at awe on the accomplishments that they have made for the last quarter. And so because of that, I have asked or invited Lieutenant Dennis Harris from the Utah County Sheriff's Office, who's also one of the directors of the Major Crimes Task Force, to come and share a little bit about the Major Crimes Task Force and the goings-on there. Dennis is a 38-year veteran in law enforcement. Spent all 38 years with the Sheriff's Office, and back in the day when I was young and had hair, and he was young, and I'm not sure if he ever had hair. But we worked together in what was then called NET, Narcotics Enforcement Team. And Dennis has really pretty much stayed with that area of law enforcement and has improved the abilities of the officers and the agents to be able to combat the war on drugs. A battle that I'm afraid we'll never win, but he definitely makes a dent in it with his expertise and his desires. So having said those things, I'd like to invite Lieutenant Harris up to share with you the ins and outs of the Major Crimes Task Force.
Thanks, Chief. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys giving me an opportunity to speak to you for a few minutes. Worked with Steve a long time ago, and we've had a very good relationship. The Utah County Major Crimes Task Force, I guess it won't be too hard to operate this. Prior to 1987, larger police departments worked their own drug cases. So basically you had Provo working their own, you had the county working their own, Market Fork, Spanish Fork. And as far as communication coordination, there really was hardly any. Everybody opened up a file cabinet, put that information in there. Any information an informant gave to them, they didn't share with anybody else. The chances of blue on blue back at that time was really, really great. It was always our concern that another police officer may meet another undercover police officer, and then there'd be a shooting. And so, in my opinion, those were very, very dangerous times, not to mention they are today. We started in Utah County in 1989 until 1997, NET. This is where Steve and I worked. We had Pleasant Grove Police Department. They basically overseen the task force. The Sheriff's Office, Provo Police, Spanish Fork, Payson, and American Fork. 1998, we had come to a juncture where we had a lot of problems in Utah County. We had about 2 shootings or a shooting and a stabbing every single week in Utah County. Towards I think it was 1997, I met with all the chiefs and I requested that we combined narcotics and the officers that were working gangs together to take care of this problem in Utah County. It was turned down by the chiefs the first time. I went to the FBI the second time and told them that we're not going to get a handle on gangs unless we combine our efforts. At that time in 1998, we did combine our efforts, and we started what was called the Utah County Major Crimes Task Force with a board of directors, which was the police chiefs, county attorney, sheriff, and that's when we first started. Today, we have 48 officers from federal, state, and local law enforcement. As you can see up there, those are all the participating agencies, to include Sheriff's Office, Provo, Orem, Lehigh, American Fork, Pleasant Grove, Springville, Spanish Fork, National Guard, Utah DPS, ATF, FBI, Homeland Security, and ERO, which is Enforcement and Removal Operations of HSI, and Customs and Border Patrol. So that's currently our team up there now. It took us a little bit of time, and we figured that the best way to strategize in taking care of gangs and narcotics was to divide our teams up into 2 different areas. One is called our DTO officers, which are full-time officers. We have 3 sergeants with the DTO officers and 15 dedicated 3 sergeants and 15 officers. DTO stands for Drug Trafficking Organizations. We have a lot of connections with the cartels in Mexico here in Utah. And so those teams are dedicated to taking off the larger amount of drugs that face Utah County. The other team is called Street Enforcement Team, or SET. There's 4 sergeants and 14 SET officers. And they are directed to take care of problems that occur locally. So in Spanish Fork, as you have citizens that call and make a complaint that they're having drug problems in that city, these SET officers will take those problems and take care of them. In 2012, Provo Police added a SET team, 2013 Sheriff's Office, 2014 American Fork, 2016 Lehigh, and I apologize, Chief, I got you, they're 2013 Spanish Fork. So all take care of local drug problems, but are required to work and coordinate with the task force. So Monday through Thursday, all these officers meet together and we have a round table and we discuss any and all problems regarding drugs, gangs, or any major crime that faces Utah County. I explained about DTO's they're responsible for investigating, dismantling, and drug trafficking organizations which routine are connected to Mexican cartels. And then the street enforcement, like I say, we take care of all the problems locally. Prior to 2012, 8 pounds of heroin was the largest seizure that the task force had ever had. Strategy of the task force prior to 2012 was to cut the tail of the snake off. Basically what that was, you would arrest somebody, throw them in jail, they'd get right back out. And so the tail grew right back on. If there is any drug connection to Utah County from anywhere in the West Coast, we will locate them. And when I say West Coast, if it has ties or connections to Utah County, we will locate them, take their money and drugs, and arrest them. Most officers with the task force have dual certifications. The DTO officers have both a federal and state police certification. This enables them to travel to places like California, Oregon, Washington, and anywhere in the United States to deal with this. Our mission is to include arrest anyone within the state of Utah or United States who distributes a significant amount of narcotics into Utah County. We actually go and cut the head of the snake off. Areas that we have been to is California, Arizona, Nevada, Colorado, Oregon, I didn't mention Washington, and Minnesota. Utah County is referred to by drug dealers as the Iron Curtain. I'm very proud of that. When you deal with those drug dealers in Salt Lake, they refuse to come to Utah County. They will go as far as the point of the mountain, but the majority of them will not come to Utah County. In 2013, we took off 106 pounds of heroin, 105 pounds of meth, 6 pounds of cocaine, marijuana 227 pounds, and 1,200 pounds of spice. In all, the task force seized $16,441,000. In 2013, it was the largest heroin bust in the history of the state of Utah by our task force. So Utah County Major Crimes, Salt Lake FBI, Utah and Arizona, we took off 90 pounds of heroin, $400,000 in cash, 22 vehicles. This is on one case. And drug trafficking organizations operating in 5 states. So these guys are very clever. They're extremely good at what they do. Our team actually was sent to Arizona because of a flow of heroin that was coming into Utah County. We went there, we worked with their state DPS, and that night they wanted to go home, and the sergeant that I assigned to this case refused to let them go home. By doing so, we ended up executing a search warrant late that night, and we took off close to 100 pounds of heroin. It was the largest seizure of heroin in the state of Arizona. And this is from Fox 13. It basically pretty much says what I just spoke about. Is there any? Yeah, if you don't mind.
Not scenarios like this.
Spit it out. Spit it out. If you're down here to buy dope, this is what happens. No, you got a bindle right in the back of your throat. Spit it out.
Seems so sad.
It's tragic. Yeah, I mean, it's destroying families.
Lieutenant Phil Murphy showed me piles of heroin.
That's probably about, $10,000 worth of heroin.
Phil Murphy
seized by the Utah County Major Crimes Task Force.
Your task force had a goal this year, 2014, to take 10 pounds of heroin off the streets. Where are you at?
We wanted to investigate cases with ultimately a 10-pound connection. In the 6 weeks of this year already, we're over 121 pounds.
Officers have surpassed their goal by 1,100% this year.
They bring it here, and they're making a lot of money.
Sure, dealers are having less success smuggling drugs in.
These are actually soles of shoes.
But when heroin does make it through, it's broken down.
This big bag here is brown heroin.
And sold in tiny balloons like this.
Who's using heroin here?
Return missionaries, Eagle Scout, fantastic academic scholars, athletes.
And I found out Utah County addicts don't always buy in their own backyard. No, instead they'll hop in the car and drive 100 miles round trip to a drug-ridden area of Salt Lake City, just a few blocks west of Pioneer Park.
Why did I get cash?
Here, people risk their freedom for a fix.
They come in from all over. We literally pull curbside, make eye contact with the right person, and do a hand-to-hand drug transaction from the window of your car like a drive-up.
Over $300.
In fact, sometimes you can spot the dealers with drugs in their mouths, and you know what? Users still buy them.
What did you think you were buying?
It is often prescription pill use.
Schedule 2 controlled substance, that's a 3rd-degree felony.
15-milligram morphine pill.
That leads to heroin abuse because heroin can be easier and cheaper to get. And this woman tells us the buyers who come here are chasing happiness.
I wish they'd find another way to be happy because they don't look happy.
Are you happy?
I'm happier than most of the people here.
That was one of the scariest days of my life when I realized I was hooked. I was addicted.
Utah County resident David Cryer spent a decade driving to Salt Lake City to feed his habit.
You were trying to balance being a good father and being a heroin addict.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't go so well, though.
Yeah. It doesn't. It just can't.
Cryer used prescription painkillers after surgery, and when those ran out, he turned to heroin to cope with personal struggles. And at $15 for a couple days supply, it was affordable.
A lot of people hide their feelings, okay? And If you're hiding your feelings to numb them out, it's even better. Then you don't have to hide them because you don't have them.
They're frustrated in life. They don't feel good. They've experienced some pain or trauma.
Gordon Bruin is with the Utah County Department of Drug and Alcohol Prevention and Treatment, and he counsels addicts.
One time, it can take over a person's life because of the area of the brain where it works.
Bruin told me about the two-part brain and how it works against addicts.
One part wants to use and doesn't care about the consequences, and then there's the other part that's deeply cares. I want to stop this. This doesn't feel good to me. I want my freedom, and I don't feel free.
Chasing drugs is a full-time job.
Cryer broke his addiction by dealing with the issues that drove him to use. And Lieutenant Murphy says that is the real solution. Beefing up narcotics units or making more arrests is not.
The root of the evil here and of the problem is getting to find out why people have to even take the substance.
You know, the reason I just want to show this little clip, I know it's really hard to hear, but I just wanted to, and I'm sure you're aware of this, drugs literally affect almost every family in one form or another. And there is no question that it is an epidemic, and it is an epidemic even in our county. In 2004, we took off 169 pounds of heroin, 106 pounds of meth, 10 pounds of cocaine, 327 pounds of marijuana, 91 pounds spice, 485 felony arrests, 100 guns seized, and $374,000 cash, which total about $19,625,000 in drugs. Now in 2014, we had still a big flow of heroin coming into Utah County. I sent a team down to Los Angeles to work with LA Impact. That's their narcotics squad there. And the guys that I went down with them on this, and we took off about 100 pounds in Los Angeles, much of which was coming to Utah. And it was really interesting. I kind of went to apologize to the officer that I was working there at that time. I said, I'm sure you get a lot of police officers coming here. And I said, you know, I want to apologize. I said, this may not be very much to you guys, but it's a lot to us. I'll never forget this. He all of a sudden went, time out for a second. He goes, this is the most heroin at one time that I ever remember getting in Los Angeles at one time. He says, we get tons, cocaine, tons of methamphetamine, marijuana, and everything else. Most heroin that we had ever gotten that I remember. So it made me feel a little bit better, but still the fact is it continues to flow into Utah. Case in point on some of the things that we end up getting into as a result of drugs. There was a drug trafficking organization responsible for distributing methamphetamine to Utah County. These suspects kidnapped and tortured a victim for 20 hours. Tried to hang him several times, tied him up with duct tape, was getting ready to inject him with heroin because they really just weren't able to quite kill him yet. We prepared a search warrant, rescued the kidnapped victim about 1 minute before they were getting ready to inject him. We seized 7 pounds of methamphetamine and $20,000 cash. On this case here, just before we took this guy down, by the way, as we were getting ready to take him down, one of the guys poked their head out of the door. It was late at night. We were waiting for the Salt Lake SWAT team, which never really did arrive on time. We grabbed one of the individuals, pulled him out. He had a gun on him. They shut the door real fast. We knocked the door down, came in, and the other guy was going for a gun. And after we interviewed him, he said that he was going to try and kill the rest of the police officers that were coming in. These are the kind of individuals we're dealing with. The 2 guys that were in there just before we came, the ones that tried to put a rope around his neck and kill him, on July 15th, one suspect shoots numerous rounds into the West Valley Kmart. We located the vehicle. Chase ensued by West Valley because we have a no-chase policy. Suspect hits vehicle, 10-year-old girl in there, fractured her hip. Suspect throws a gun out of the window, even though both of his arms are broken at this time. The other individual that was with him earlier that tried to hang the guy, July 17th, attempted to try to stop one of the suspects by Unified Police in Taylorsville. Suspect shoots the police numerous times, Suspect eventually shot by the police. Did not kill him, but one thing I want to point is that with drugs comes an extreme amount of violence. And we deal with these guys on a day-to-day basis. In 2015, we took down 143 pounds of heroin, 71 pounds of meth, 19 pounds of cocaine, 343 pounds of marijuana, dab, spice, felony arrests, gun seized 54, and 2 grenades. $16,475,000 worth of drugs seized. 2015, another one that I thought was kind of interesting, I thought I'd throw in this. This was a drug trafficking organization that was in Heber, selling drugs to Utah County. We took out 4.4 pounds of meth. And then we started to experience something that was quite a little bit different. We started to get what was called China White. China White is a mixture of white heroin and fentanyl mixed together. Talk about fentanyl just a little bit more. This is the one that we took down of some wanted gang members, 24 pounds of methamphetamine, 6 pounds of heroin, cocaine, handgun stolen from Washington, and 2 grenades. $800,000 street value, $10,000 cash. Officers traveled to Stockton, California, and took down 11 pounds of cocaine. And like I say, this is one of those that we continue to follow through. $30,000 in a hidden compartment in 5 vehicles. Suspects were transporting large amounts of drugs into Utah and Salt Lake counties. First quarter of 2017, we've had 84 felony arrests, 71 misdemeanors. Of course, it's a lot more than that now, but meth seized, 32 pounds, heroin, almost 15 pounds, marijuana, 322, and as you can see, on and on. Cash so far, $111,000, 2 vehicles and $21,000. Let's see, worth $21,000, and 39 firearms seized so far this year. Now, mind you, a good portion of the firearms that we do seize, these individuals have them in their vehicle to use on anyone that may take their drugs. And so that includes police officers. Let's see, we kind of touched, I think, on 2016 a little bit. This is one of the busts that we had in one of the places that we went to, and so these are just a sample of some of the things that we seize. Obviously, a lot of weapons, a lot of drugs, and a lot of cash. In the bottom, you could see balloons, which they commonly sell balloons of heroin. When somebody gets to a point where they've been using pills too much, then they'll start using balloons because it's a lot cheaper than buying pills because your doctor has stopped prescribing them to you. In 2016, also we did what was called a SHAMO case. We seized $1.7 million cash. Also a pill press that was ordered from China. It produced approximately 25,000 pills a day. Now, mind you, this is the largest pill case in the United States. Last 30 days, suspect had 60 orders for $20,000 each of pills to be delivered throughout the United States. Who would ever dream this would come from Utah? DEA is investigating the number of deaths in the United States. I can tell you that we have had some of those deaths in Utah County. And the reason being is because they lace these pills with fentanyl. Fentanyl is 100 times more powerful than heroin. And heroin, I refer to it as the walking dead man's drug. You get on heroin and the chances of getting off are extremely, extremely high. 2017 to present, was January to present, fentanyl case, November to present, largest pill case in the United States that we just seen. Suspects from Utah County and Salt Lake, 120,000 pills laced with fentanyl, $1,700,000, over $1 million in bitcoins on the dark web. Currently, Homeland Security, DEA, and our task force are investigating that, and we hope to seize most of that money that is currently on the dark web. They use bitcoins to do their drug transactions. 60 pending orders at $20,000 each, unknown how many deaths there currently are. And I imagine by the time we're done, there will probably be quite a few federal prosecutions on those who created or these deaths. Most of these guys are currently in custody. Just a picture, methamphetamine. This was at a Spanish Fork. But even though it may not seem a lot, they do go to great extents, obviously, to hide them in Pepsi cans, which have hidden compartments. You have all seen them, I'm sure, advertised. But not to mention, with drugs, it does bring violence in every single city, and we've seen it. 2017, guns and drugs that we've seen. I think he's in the hall. For a second. He needs to come and see his son. We're currently investigating your son for a rocket launcher. And anyway, I just thought maybe you better see that one now.
That's in my house. We had paintball fights with it.
Overdose deaths. KSL Debbie Janovic between 2008 and 2012. 80 heroin users in Utah County has died. 2016, 27 heroin users died in Utah County. So far this year, I should change that. I believe we have 8 or more deaths from heroin right now. That's all I have on that presentation, and I definitely don't want to bore you, but we do have to give presentations to the chiefs every 3 months. And in those presentations to the chiefs, it's pretty much something like this, but it's every 3 months we give them what we've done those last 3 months. The reason I'm going to show you this is because I am really concerned that fentanyl is becoming a real problem. A lot of these drugs are ordered and shipped from China. In China, they have these RC labs that are very good at what they do as far as dealing death. The DEA is working with China, and I think they're making some strides with Customs and Border Patrol also. They try to identify those companies that are sending drugs to the United States, and then a lot of these things get pulled off before they reach here. On a regular basis, we have a tremendous amount of drugs being shipped to every city in Utah County. Fentanyl, if you take a look at this and just pass this around, that represents 3 grains of sugar. 3 grains of sugar will kill you. Can you imagine when they're ordering like this from China, 100 grams for $800? There's enough right now to take care of a good portion of your city as far as killing citizens. Something that we're running into now, and we've had a death where we did toxicology on the person, and this is 1 gram of U47700. Have you heard of that? This is the same drug that killed kids up in Park City. We had somebody die here in Utah County that had traces of U477 in it. 1 gram of this goes for $28 to $40 from RC labs in China. There's a lot of them in China. This U477 is getting to be a little bit popular, and we are very concerned with it, even as fentanyl. U477. U stands for the Upjohn Company. The Upjohn Company manufactured this in the 70s, and the Chinese are very good. They pull all of our patents from the United States, and so they make the things that these pharmaceutical companies made in the United States years ago. So I will, I know you guys are, if you're running out of time, I could quit right now. I'm almost done.
Yeah, we probably ought to. Yeah, don't let Brandon keep that.
This is for approximately a 3-month period of time that we gave the chiefs. So I'll tell you how busy we are. So this was a 3-month, 12 pounds of heroin. 2 pounds of heroin, 12 pounds of meth. And there's a lot of them in here that are small. The $1.7 million worth of pills that we took off. 3 ounces of methamphetamine. 2,500 grams of marijuana. Let's see. 102 grams of meth. 5 grams of heroin. Stolen firearm. 2 stolen vehicles. I'm going from case to case because I want to be real quick here. 2,177 THC gummy bears being sold and distributed from our county to other places in the United States. 2.7 pounds of meth. Stolen handgun. 7 pounds of methamphetamine. 8 pounds of marijuana. $17,000 cash. 11 guns. Silencer. 8.1s of methamphetamine. I can go in here, and this is, like I say, this is for 3 months. I don't know if you want to hear the whole thing. It continues like this.
I think we get the point on
Yeah.
that.
One thing I would like to say to everyone, and this includes the chief, I want to thank you very much for the officers that you guys have dedicated to the Utah County Major Crimes Task Force. I promise you, and I'm not trying to brag, in the 38 years I've been in law enforcement, this is the best collaboration and unification of police officers that I've ever seen. Something that Salt Lake cannot duplicate and have tried numerous times. And so I want to thank you for Spanish Fork assistance in assisting in keeping these drugs out of the hands of our kids. And I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. Like I say, I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm really pleased with law enforcement today, and you guys are a very, very big part of it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate, make sure you get that, because I'd hate to have Chief Adams, cuff us all right after.
Yes.
We don't want on the fly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We just called the drug officers. Lord will be here in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, good. All right, let's move on. Consent items.
Motion to approve the consent items.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Gordon, a second by Councilman Mendenhall. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
New business, PEC testing and inspection contract.
Okay, this is a kind of a big change for our engineering office. We have used Epic Engineering for almost 10 years now, and doing our inspection and testing. And we have, by rule, every 7 years we now, it wasn't 7 years before, but every 7 years we go to RFP on selecting our testing and inspection consultant, and we organized a committee to review the proposals. We had Brandon Gordon on that committee, and after reviewing all the proposals, we felt like PEC was the best proposal, and so we'd like to recommend using them. This is the company that will do all of the earth work and testing for any public infrastructure going into Spanish Fork, as well as inspection of subdivisions and developments when our engineering staff, we don't have enough inspectors to go to each of the sites. So,
Great. Wow, I'm impressed. All right, any question, comments? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the PEC testing and inspection contract.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilmember Beck, a second by Councilman Scopes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Swenson Park canopy. Well, I was going to get the ballpark in there. That's synonymous with.
I didn't bring a ball.
Yes. So in our budget, we have a canopy, 30 foot by 40 foot canopy to cover our equipment out back. It's sitting in the elements. It's not really good for it. We had that budgeted. We sent it out to bid. We budgeted an amount over a year ago, which As you know, our economy's doing really well, and so things cost a lot more money. So when we got our bids back, Hall Engineering came in with the lowest bid at $36,225. Also, engineering has included a $3,000 completion bonus in that, and so our total is $39,225, of which we have budgeted $30,000. So we're looking for two things: one, to be able to approve the increase, and also to be able to award the bid to Hall Engineering, if that is approved.
Okay, any questions? See none, I'd entertain a motion.
I make a motion to award the Swenson Park canopy structure bid to Hall Engineering with the increase in cost.
Right. Got a motion by Councilman Mendenhall, a second by Councilman Argal. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, board appointments. I want to thank Jerry Huffman. He's been on our rec board for quite a while. He's going off due to work and other business stuff that he's got and coaching. So I would like to recommend Ryan Nielsen to be appointed to the Parks and Rec Committee.
I move that we approve the mayor's appointment.
We need to do those two reappointments.
With reappointment
Oh.
of Dave Boyack and Doug Brown.
Dave Boyack and Doug Brown are also on that. Sorry, I was looking at my paper here instead of my.
They're to be reappointed.
We need to reappoint them too. So, along with that motion, I'd like to have Dave Boyack and Doug Brown reappointed.
I make a motion that we approve the mayor's appointment, Ryan Nielsen, Parks and Rec Committee, and the reappointment of Dave Boyack and Doug Brown.
Second. A motion by Councilman Scobes, a second by Councilman Argal. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Tentative budget.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity that we have at this time to present the tentative fiscal year 2018 budget. This is an annual process whereby we put together our budget. We submit a tentative budget to you. Officially, in some ways, it's behind your computer, sir. Giving you this budget that for the next month you can work on it, make any changes or adjustments that you'd like. I have copies for anybody in the public seating that would like any. Dang it.
Yeah.
Man, they all left. Most important thing on the budget.
It's like when you write a novel and they actually print it. It's like,
All right.
Darn the luck.
As I mentioned, the tentative budget is presented tonight for your approval, and we'll discuss a few things about it. During this next month, you as the mayor and council have the opportunity to discuss, and I welcome the opportunity to meet with you individually in pairs and work session, as well as any other means that we can to go over it. And if you want to make any changes, then this is the next month for you to do that. We'll have a public hearing on this budget in June, on June 6th, 2018. The public is invited to that meeting to come and speak directly about this budget. We will also have a separate public hearing about the dividend transfer that is associated with this tentative budget I'll be presenting tonight. June 20th, we anticipate the adoption of this budget with any changes that might be made between now and June 20th. There is a budget letter that accompanies this. It is a fascinating read. I have 3 daughters that for many, many years, I would read to them every night as they were growing up. And at this time of the year, I would sit down in the hallway and I would read to them. Sometimes, obviously, right, I'm reading great books from the library or
Dragons Love Tacos.
Who's the detective that I grew up
Nancy
with?
Drew.
Nancy Drew, thank you.
Thank you very
Nancy,
much.
they love Nancy Drew books, but certain times of the year they would get a budget letter. And they never made it past page 1. Man, it was great to put them out. So if your children if they're having a hard time falling asleep, if If any of the little ones have a hard time, just pull out the budget letter, read it to them. You'll knock them out. It's great.
Did you just hear the epidemic we have with drugs in youth? I wonder if that's going to help. You know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Drive them to it, Seth. Keep
This is good
torturing-
stuff.
Torturing them.
So there's a budget letter that precedes this, and it's a great read. In it, I've identified a number of the major accomplishments and highlights of this budget. I'll go through some of them here in this presentation. There are 4 new positions that are funded in the general fund, 2 police officer positions. By adding these 2 patrol officers, in addition to a detective SRO position that will in part also cover some patrol in the summertime, we will return our per officer call volume to pre-2013 levels, which is great. Through the years, we kind of ebb and flow, of course, with calls for service, and this will take us back maybe to 2010-ish in the calls for service. So it's a good enhancement to our police, and it's a good time to do that as we're adding more commercial, and we, of course, will keep our eye on that. Building inspections, this is one of our building inspectors here, and I note in the budget letter that that we have done more inspections this year. We're on track to do 7,000 inspections in 2017, and every indication is that 2018 will be just as strong. We've been using as a stopgap and filler some contractors. That's been a great way for us to fill the gaps and the busy times, but the cost for those contractors is going up with the economy, and the need for them is going up, and so we're just about able to balance out hiring this new position by decreasing some of the costs associated with that. Not quite, but there certainly is some balancing that does occur there. We've also proposed in this tentative budget to hire a maintenance position, although we have only with this budget funded half of that position. Now, before you wonder what that means, it means that we would start the position in January. That's how we hire half a person in a budget year. So we budgeted for that position to be 50% funded this year, or starting in January, then obviously it'll be fully funded in next fiscal year. Probably more importantly, and I should have started with this to the employees and for all the employees that we have, this budget includes sufficient funds to provide raises for those employees that have earned them. We have a great merit system that we have been employing for more than, I think, 15 years. Predates me, Dave Euler, and others helped to design the system. We've made some tweaks to it through the years, and this budget includes the ability to fund raises for employees. With our merit system, we're different than many cities and maybe different than the feds and the state, where not all employees get a raise. It's not guaranteed that if today you can fog the mirror, which is a term in the human resource world, that you're still alive, okay, you get a raise. That's not how we do it here. It's based on your performance. So not every employee is guaranteed a raise. However, frankly speaking, I hope that every employee gets a raise. That means that they're performing at a high level and doing their job well. I hope that all of our employees are doing that. I recognize that probably not all of them will. But in time, through corrective action with their supervisors, I hope that they achieve getting some kind of a raise, because that means that they have fixed the problems or challenges that they have. So there isn't a savings that we build into this budget because we expect 10 or 15% of our employees to not get a raise. Frankly, my hope is that every employee gets and merits a raise. And if they don't get one immediately, that they're able to achieve one with their supervisor. There are 2 positions in this budget that were asked for that we haven't yet funded. One is an SFCN engineer, and that is a high priority for me. But with some of the aggressive capital expenditures that we're doing with the Fiber to the Home project, we haven't yet been able to fund that. So John and I and Kent are working on that one, and maybe we'll be able to find the revenue to fund that position later on in one of our subsequent revisions. And also, the electric department is needing to put more resources toward their mapping, and we'll work with Chris and Kelly to identify when we can and want to fill that position. As I talk about any of these things also, please feel free to stop me. This budget includes combining the streets and storm drain funds into one, and we will make them both still, like the storm drain fund has been, an enterprise fund. This is something we've discussed with you before, and we put into motion with this tentative budget. This will make the streets and storm drain function just like an enterprise fund does. One of the revenue sources will be money from the general fund. Historically, we've been spending about $1 million a year on streets, and there have been some increases in gas taxes from the state legislature the last couple of years. And so we are able to decrease some of our contributions from the general fund, but a revenue source to the streets and storm drain fund we anticipate will always be money from the general fund. We've been doing that for many, many years, and we can continue to do that. But by combining them into one enterprise fund, it enables some budgeting efficiencies, and it enables the managers to take care of a few challenges where they can make their resources finite, their revenues finite, and not always rely on just the general fund to balance things out. So this is something that was recommended to us by the Street and Storm Division Manager, the Public Works Director, and something this budget achieves. A number of major sales, general fund revenues, I'll touch on 3 or 4, but there are many to equate to the $23 million that this general fund budget is. The first one is sales tax. Sales tax continues to grow, and it is the single largest source of revenue that our general fund has. This year, we anticipate in the ending of this fiscal year that we'll have some $6.5 million in sales tax revenue, our highest sales tax revenue year ever. This budget anticipates a slight increase, about 2.5%, which honestly I believe is low. But we purposefully budget low and conservative today because we don't know how the economy will be. In 6 months from now, 8 months from now, if the economy continues strong and we can increase those revenues, we can do other projects with revisions. But if the economy turns, we haven't overestimated our revenues and we don't have to cut expenditures. So this is a long-held tradition that we have, and it has proved very well for us. So we've estimated some very modest increases in our sales tax. There is also some increase reserved for the economic development agreement that we recently passed with the Canyon Creek Community Center, or Commercial Center. Another very important general fund revenue is the property tax, one that for us is very stable. Sales tax is very elastic, which means that it goes up and down. Good economies, sales tax goes up. Bad economies, sales tax goes down. We experienced that, of course, 2008, 2009, with significant decreases in sales tax revenue. On the other hand, property tax is extremely stable. Our property taxes through the recession never wavered. They were very, very stable. And this budget anticipates a slight growth in property tax, but not because our rate goes up, only because some farm fields have been turned into homes, and some waste lands that have never been used before have been turned into commercial centers, and so there will be some increase for that. Our property tax rate has stayed low at 0.001031, a fantastically low rate, one of, if not the lowest rate, I believe, in the state. I anticipate actually that property tax rate will go down again before we approve this budget in June. It's a function of the way the property tax system works. As in all years, as staff, we recommend that you consider holding the tax rate, not increasing it, but potentially holding it. This budget doesn't do that. It doesn't propose that, but it is something that I think we always need to be talking about. Because as property tax revenues go down, as the property tax rate goes down, we lose a little bit of value in that property tax to inflation. And so even though that rate will still generate the same $1.7 or $8 million this year as last year, you can't buy as much with $1.7 million this year like last year. You just heard Parks and Rec Director Dale Robinson say that he had a budget of $30,000 for a building, and it comes back about $39,000, and that is a sign of a healthy economy, and costs go up. But sometimes we lose some of the abilities of these monies because of inflation. Another major source is the dividend transfer. We want to make sure that we talk about that, as we don't want to hide any of this from the public. This budget anticipates a 3.5% dividend transfer from the utilities. Other budgets in other years have had a 4.5% or 4%. For the last 2 years, we've held this at 3.5%. It provides for additional revenue that is a dividend from these utilities, an investment in the taxpayers to create them. A dividend in, if these utilities were owned by private companies, they would certainly take money maybe back to company holders in the Midwest, or maybe even overseas, depending on where those companies were held. These dividends stay here and help to run the general fund and do some other projects within the general fund. Other major sources are indirect services, energy sales taxes, and building permits, and other things like that. Jump to the enterprise funds. I want to highlight some changes to rates in the enterprise funds. I'll start first with a big one. This is pressurized irrigation. In 2003, residents of Spanish Fork were introduced to a new utility called pressurized irrigation. And this utility was created to save a lot of money, but in saving a lot of money, it also cost a lot of money. So it's a long-term investment by the city of Spanish Fork to install pipes and water systems and pressurizing systems to make it so that our residents could have water for their yard that wasn't chlorinated and cleaned to a level that you could drink it. My yard doesn't need to drink the same clean water that my body does. We can pull water from the river and water our yards just fine. So the pressurized irrigation system was built. It started out with a base rate of $16 per month and a per 1,000 gallon usage rate of $1.24. Since 2003, we have had 3 rate decreases. But through the Life Center discussion 2 years ago, I learned that most residents of Spanish Fork had no idea that we had decreased the pressurized irrigation rate 3 times since 2003. Most people I talked to thought it was still $16. Most people I talked to had no idea what the per 1,000 gallon rate was, but they knew their pressurized irrigation rate was still $16. In fact, I had a lady at the senior center. I love going to the senior center and talking about things that are going on. But there was one particular lady at the senior center who yelled at me and said, "You're lying." And she slammed down her plate and she walked out. Well, I wasn't lying. I'm not lying. We have decreased the pressurized irrigation rate 3 times since 2003, and in this budget we propose to decrease the pressurized irrigation rate a 4th time. We have just paid off the pressurized irrigation bond, the initial bond from 2003, in this current fiscal year. So in this budget we propose to decrease that rate from $13.25 down to $11.34. And the per 1,000 gallons down from 87 cents a 1,000 gallons to 82. This will be a great savings to the residents of Spanish Fork as they use pressurized irrigation. That is in this proposed budget. And again, stop me at any time. Ask any questions that you have. This budget also anticipates a change to the electric rate structure. You're very familiar with this. I won't bore you with the details, but in February we will make some changes to the electric rate where we will change the base rate, we'll increase it slightly, and we will decrease the usage rate. The purpose of this is to be net revenue neutral, but to make some adjustments to the rates so that we can have, we don't have any problems with solar panels and net metering that we see continuing to rise and are great for the system, but our rate structure, frankly, has been unsustainable. This will address that in this fiscal year. This budget also has a proposed increase in the garbage can, and the black garbage can for garbage and the blue garbage can for recycling. Costs for these services continue to go up. So it proposes a change of about 50 cents, 51 cents to the garbage can, and I think a little less than $1 to the recycle can. Recycling is a challenge right now. There used to be a market where we could sell our recycled goods and vendors would buy the material and use it. So they would in turn sell it, and there was a market for that. That market's gone. And we aren't selling our recycled goods that we're picking up. We're now paying somebody to take those recycled goods. And so there's obviously we were cash positive selling it, and now we're paying. So there's a decent swing in that, and the cost to recycle has to go up to reflect that. We also have the Streets and Storm Drain Fund. We continue to have changes in federal regulations and costs associated with that. with maintaining the streets and storm drain. And so this budget proposes an increase in the residential rate for street and storm drain fee. All right. SFCN. SFCN continues to be an amazing resource. I want to highlight what they're doing. I think it's important that we not ever miss what is going on in our community right now. Last fiscal year, we started testing how costs and timing and the network associated with taking fiber to every home and every SFCN customer for internet and other services. This year, I believe your home or your node was one of those tests, right, Kiera? It was an overhead one. Since then, John and his team have put together an aggressive schedule to deliver and convert all of our nodes, taking fiber from the node to every home in Spanish Fork in 4 years. We are in the first full year, completing the first full year of that. And honestly, we are almost exactly on schedule from what John predicted. It was 20 nodes a year, right? And we're going to be really close to hitting that 20-year goal in this first year. Frankly, I kind of thought we'd maybe get 10 or 15 this first year, and maybe we'd be faster and faster and have 30 or 35 the last year. But true to form, their department delivers as they always do, and they're hitting or going to be close to hitting that 20 node mark in this first year.
It is working fantastically, John, by the way. Well done.
Rub it in, is that what you said?
Here gets fiber first, his
It's 'cause he's
streets
been here
get
the
plowed,
longest.
his, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I guess. Moving downtown. Yep.
Councilman Gordon or Mendenhall, if you'd like a candy bar, I think if you opened your drawers, you might find a candy bar. What can I do to salvage this?
Just get me a spoon.
Okay. Perfect. Tyler, will you get him a spoon, please?
Yeah, I'll give thanks. Grit TV, it's
Hey,
wonderful.
Grit TV.
It's the wrong grit.
No, it's
Is it right now?
right
It's
now.
corrected?
It's right.
It's corrected.
Yep.
Fantastic.
It is good. Thank you. Thank you.
So Mr. Bocut has been asked a number of times to speak about what he is doing. Again, converting our hybrid fiber coax system to fiber to the home, not increasing rates, not taking out any extra bond, doing it with resources that we already have from the rate structure that we already have. It's pinching John and some of the things that he'd like to do. As I mentioned earlier, there's a position that we'd like to fund, but we don't yet have the ability to do that. But they're doing something that is unheard of in the industry and are to be applauded for that. The residents save over $3 million a year thanks to SFCN. This savings comes in two ways. One, they have low rates for our services. Ask any of your friends, family members that live in towns that are not Spanish Fork what they pay for their high-speed internet and what their speeds are, or what they pay for cable television. And they will tell you a bill that is probably close to twice as much as what you might pay here. And then, because John does such a good job and SFCN does such a good job, competitors here in Spanish Fork have lower rates too. So even if you don't take SFCN, you benefit from a lower rate because of that competition which they provide. So hats off to the great work that they're doing there in SFCN. This budget has a number of capital projects. Some years, lean years, we aren't able to do projects. In other years, we can catch up and do some projects that we maybe haven't been able to. This budget proposes to build pickleball courts and finish 2 Little League baseball fields in the sports park. This budget proposes to do other projects. Let me outline those. This is a rough drawing, or it's not really a rough drawing, but it is a preliminary idea of what this could look like at the sports park, to have 2 additional ball fields. This is Riverview Elementary. 2 additional ball fields in this area that today is unfinished. It's just dirt and weeds, storage of some materials and pieces of equipment too.
Bunnies.
There are bunnies there. I'll take your word for it.
Definitely is. When I go walking, we always see bunnies. Save the bunnies.
Please. Here we
All
go.
right. We will name these
Save
these
the
fields the Jackrabbit Fields then. All right, perfect. But we will also put some pickleball courts, and these aren't miniature tennis courts. They're actually pickleball courts. They're a smaller court, roughly half the size of a tennis court. And this budget proposes to construct the first 8 pickleball courts. We're showing here that there could be more. We won't build too many, but 8 pickleball courts. If you've never played pickleball, I know that each one of you have as a council members, but if the residents haven't ever played pickleball, 2 things. One, I invite you to come and play in a pickleball tournament that our recreation department will hold in June. They will actually tape down lines on the tennis court, and it'll work out just fine. But then if you travel to St. George, they have an amazing complex there. Pickleball's really fun. It's a combination of maybe tennis and ping pong. It's pretty easy to play. You don't have to run very far, so it's a great sport as you get older. Knees can handle it, and ability levels can handle it too. So this proposes to build some pickleball courts. This budget proposes to complete the golf course clubhouse addition that we started in this current fiscal year. We will know the costs associated with that maybe in a month, about a month and a half. So we'll see what the costs are for this clubhouse addition. This budget also includes building the loop in the cemetery that would go into this area of the cemetery, opening up this area of the cemetery immediately adjacent to 4th South and the parking lot of the Centennial Park. This area that is tough to access today because your closest access is here or on the other side of the fence.
So is those solar panels?
Those are not solar panels. Those are cemetery plots. I don't even have a good joke. Sorry. This budget contains several projects to enhance or improve the fairgrounds, including some improvements to some of the stalls that we have, dressing up the front of this indoor arena, and depending on how far it goes, we also anticipate this maybe being a multi-year project, but we will start with dressing up the front of the indoor arena, and then we'll move to the high chaparral and the indoor tennis courts in maybe later years. The purpose of this is that the fairgrounds is an amazing asset of Spanish Fork City. When I was a college student at BYU, I remember driving from campus to the BYU Dairy here south of town. It doesn't exist anymore. I drove and I drove and I drove from BYU, and I finally got to the Spanish Fork Main Street exit of I-15. And then I drove and I drove and I drove forever. And I remember seeing the fairground sign on South Main. And I don't know how much longer I drove before I finally made it to the BYU Dairy on Powerhouse Road. But to me, it seemed like forever. Well, the fairgrounds isn't that far away from Center Street. And as the town continues to grow, obviously we have grown a little bit south on this main street, right? But as town continues to grow and develop, we do not want the fairgrounds to be a detraction from the good things on Main Street. And so this budget proposes to dress up those buildings. We want the public to be proud of the facility that we have here. This is a beautiful arena. The look of this from Main Street is amazing. The look of this indoor arena is not. And with a little bit of money and participation in sharing from the county, we can dress this up and make it a beautiful addition to South Main Street that nobody will hopefully ever say, boy, that sure is ugly, we should get rid of the fairgrounds. We want to preserve and future-proof the viability of this fairgrounds resource. This budget also contains funds to make sure that we can open the pool next year. We believe that the pool is a great community asset, and as we've had discussions with you, the direction has been given that you would like to see the pool live for another few years. We believe that the life of this pool is limited. It is situated in the center of the high school complex. And as the Nebo School District looks to the future and rebuilding Spanish Fork High School, we believe that they will need this ground. Although we do have a lease that allows us to be here for many, many more years, we believe that they will need this in order to make a functional remodel of the Spanish Fork High School. And so today we think that we have a good 10 years left on this location. I want to make sure that you're aware of that, and maybe even that the public is aware of that, because these adjustments, not adjustments, replastering the pool, changing the coping stones, have a 10-year life. So we will get good use out of this investment. But when this 10 years is up, it probably means that we need to look at a different location for a pool. And that'll be okay. This pool's tired. When it was built in 1995, it was top of the line, innovative, and award-winning. But today, it doesn't have the same allure as other pools. And so as we look to the future, I think a challenge and an opportunity for councils of the future will be to look at what's the best need and best way to meet that need of swimming and that resource here for the community. But this budget will make it so that we can open that swimming pool next year. And when I say next year, I don't mean this June. I mean June of 2018. All right, 2 more slides. The last 2 things. This budget anticipates the takeover of operations of the Springville Airport. Springville has notified us that they are exploring getting out of the operation and joint ownership of our Spanish Fork and Springville Airport. Sorry. Spanish Fork, Springville Airport. Need me a candy bar? Mini. It was a small demerit, right? So this budget anticipates taking over the financial operations of this airport. The joint operation has been, Springville has run the finances, they've run the risk management, we've done the engineering, we've done the illegal work. We will take all of those operations in-house and we will bear all the costs. Happily, thankfully, the airport generates more money than it spends, but for some capital projects that we choose to do from year to year, there are matches that can come with it. This budget anticipates a match or 2, and we think that we've budgeted about $100,000 for the capital projects at the airport. Not anything new, something that we've always been planning to do, but now we will do that. We will bear that cost alone without the help of Springville. We aren't anywhere near the actual separation, if you will, from Springville, but this budget anticipates that functional, operational takeover, and then we will work with Springville to continue researching and studying that, and if it comes to fruition, then we will have budgeted for that. Lastly, I want to remind you that the library is something that we need to keep our eye on. With the Life Center discussion, of course, you'll recall the library was a part of that, and we had a plan to build a library. Many people say, well, just rebuild where you have, expand where you are here in the park. We cannot add a parking lot at this location without removing more trees at the library or at the city park, taking away more open space in the center of town. And that, I think, would be a tragedy. They are not making any more open space in the center of Spanish Fork. And so to take away grass and trees, to expand a library in City Park would be taking away from a park that the future would not be able to enjoy. So the direction you as a council have given us the last year or so is to find a better place for the library. We've identified that location and are communicating with the landowners to try to secure that land. We don't have any of that land under contract yet, but we will continue to work with them. And if that land comes available, this budget has funds that we can purchase that land. Hopefully that'll come to fruition soon, and we can begin some of that work. And that is my tentative budget presentation. Any questions? And you made it. No, my applause to you. You didn't get sick. That's
I
fantastic.
figured she'd be gone because, your girls always went.
So are you going to contact us if we want to talk about some things?
Yeah,
Or do you want us
yes.
to contact you?
Either way is fine.
Okay. I didn't
But
know
I
if you was
can-
going to set up some things
No,
automatically.
we can start setting up appointments after the council meeting tonight. What works for you, and go through any of the budget. And we've had a work session or two. Obviously we had a large work session in January about the budget. So I have not scheduled any more combined work sessions with you. However, if you would like to see that, we can do that. But I definitely would like to meet with you individually. We can do that 2 by 2 as well. Talk about anything you have questions about in the budget.
Really
I'm
quick,
happy to answer any questions.
I've only been through 3 of these now, but with none of the public in the room right now, but millions watching on TV, as the mayor always says. Just a shout out to the city. Seth, you and Dave Euler have passed, and all the department heads. But when fiscal responsibility and transparency are brought up, which people should demand from their government, I'm always impressed at this time when we go through the budget exercise, because Spanish Fork is fiscal responsibility and transparency. I mean, it's like the middle name, it seems like, of us. There's nothing that's hidden, just like what you've talked about here, and the door's always open to not only us, but I know you talk to a whole lot of residents around these few months, and I know they appreciate it, and we appreciate it too. But just the good fight that you guys put up with different, HB 164, I don't know how much we've talked about that in public this year, but the legislature was talking about taking a tool away from cities of transferring from the enterprise fund to the general fund. And what a tragedy that would be when Seth arguing for that, to retain that ability of cities across the whole state to do, proved to be a great thing, and so he should be commended for it. Beyond that, it shows that we were already doing a whole lot of the job. HB 164 passed, and it passed with saying you need to be transparent with your citizens about what you're transferring, what you're doing. They looked at Spanish Fork about what we're doing and said, this is what cities need to do. This is what you need to tell your residents. So kudos to you guys for what you do and to exercise the work that you put into it. But it is transparency and accountability that we run off of. And I know not every resident sees that, but we sure do. And I know the people that take the time to come in and talk to you do.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And HB 164 was a very interesting discussion and debate to be a part of, and I was very pleased that at the end of the day, among a few other cities, Spanish Fork was used as an example that this is how we notice the public. This is what we do to make sure that we're not trying to hide anything, and talking about an $80 million budget isn't the most exciting thing to do, and a lot of people don't want to come to a meeting like this. But it's something that we take very seriously, and I can tell you that each of these department heads, when we say it's time to do the budget again, they don't get really super excited because it takes a lot of effort. But they scrutinize their budgets. Kent and I scrutinize each of the budgets and make sure that what we're spending, we need to spend. And we're not budgeting too much. We're not being too dangerous and saying our revenues are going to be really high and we're going to spend every dollar, but we're very conservative. We budget revenues low and we budget expenditures high, and they balance. And generally the way it works out is our revenues come in a little bit higher and our expenditures come in a little bit lower, and that's a good way to be. We can survive a lot of changes in the economy when we operate that way, and I appreciate those kudos, but you as council members too need to be applauded because in the end this is your budget and this is your direction, and this is the way you want to do it. You don't say spend, and at the same time you balance it with a quality of life. It's very important to the residents of this community that they have a good community, and I think all of the residents can rest easy to know that they have a great place to live and it's not expensive to be here. So thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Seth.
I'm sure we do appreciate all the effort of all the department heads and everyone that went into putting this budget together. Now, it's our turn to take this budget, dissect it, go through it, ask any questions. That's what's really nice about our staff and Seth is if you have a question about the budget, go to him, talk to him, and get a better understanding, and then we'll come back and tweak it if we need to and carry on with what we've got. So with that, we need to make a motion to approve our tentative budget, so I would entertain a motion on that.
I make a motion we approve our 2018 tentative budget.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Mendenhall, a second by Councilman Argal. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
I move we adjourn to the redevelopment agency.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Gordon and a second by Councilman Scope to go into RDA. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve the consent items.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Gordon, a second by Councilman Mendenhall to approve the consent items. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Last page of the budget document that you have is the RDA budget. We budget, in this budget rather, there are a few projects that we will do. The North Industrial Park RDA, the first column there listed is around Main Street. The Kirby Lane RDA is around the SAPA complex. The Corona CRA you just created last week, or last council meeting, and is around the Canyon Creek Commercial Center, the Wasatch Wind. Any guesses where that is?
You stumped me.
Must be by the golf course.
Yes. Be by the golf course. That is the RDA that surrounds the windmills. And then the Sierra Bonita RDA, or CDA rather, is in the area of Young Living on North Main. The Sierra Bonita, we anticipate the Sierra Bonita CDA starting this year. It follows the expansion of the business in that area. And if they meet certain criteria, then certain incentives will kick in. And they have added a number of jobs. I believe they're close to, if not already, meeting the criteria set in that agreement. It was a great business to keep in town, and if they have met those, then we will activate this CDA and begin that agreement. The Corona CRA also, we anticipate starting that this year, as we discussed it last week. So this budget has funds for passing through those the sales tax money through the Corona CRA. Inside of this budget also, there are certain projects on Main Street around the airport. The IMSAR is a business that will be coming to the airport, and there are some funds in here to do some improvements along Main Street and other places. And then we anticipate building a road near SAPA and using some funds in the RDA for that. A lot of great projects, and these are funded through the RDA, which either has property tax or sales tax revenue that is separate from the general revenues, so it has a funding source and is self-sufficient. Any questions there?
All right, with that, we need to approve the 2018 tentative RDA budget.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2018 tentative budget.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilmember Beck and second by Councilman Scobes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion to go back into city council.
Got a motion by Councilman Gordon,
Second.
second by Councilman Argal to go back into city council. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
One last thing about the budget. You have sat through the most boring part of the budget process in a month. Stay tuned, because our finance director, Kent Clark, will be presenting. And he does the best job.
The public gets to comment.
And obviously the public gets to comment, and he does a better job of detailing and outlining this budget. So appreciate you bearing with me, but stay tuned. In 1 month.
There's usually questions to the scouts when that goes on.
And yeah,
which
scouts,
is
if you're coming,
always
don't
entertaining.
come. Don't come planning on just sitting there. He might have treats for you, but you might have to answer a few questions.
He talks about cows.
Motion to adjourn in order to go cheer for the Jazz.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Gordon, a second by Councilman Argal. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you for everyone that's here and those who are watching.